Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. Spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
I'm not a good pretender, I never could live a lie. I said too much, and let it get the best of me, until it took the rest of me. I thought it was worth the fight, to fight for what's right, to right all the wrongs, to sing in our songs, to know we belong. No one understands, they don't have the desire, got the hands in the fire, and I do it again. We give it all we can, all we have is desire, got the hands in the fire, we burn ourselves and never say, never say, never say, never again. I never say, never say, never say, never again. I learned more from one enemy than from 1,000 friends. That heaven takes care of the fools and scoundrels in the end. You learn more from one lie than from 1,000
Greetings,
truths.
space travelers. Welcome home. You've just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and tonight we're broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We would love it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spaced Out Radio and at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire, get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to some Bumblefoot and so much more. Yeah, you saw it on the thumbnail. We're going to have the man with the plan, Drew Bankey, always great energy, man, and I always love talking to the gentleman. So it's going to be an awesome show. We're kicking it off on this Saturday in the after hours. Hope you had a great week. We had a great week here at Spaced Out Radio, as always, and we're going to have a great weekend. So we're going to kick it off today with Drew Bankey, some fantastic convo, I'm sure, and then we'll end the weekend off tomorrow, and, business as usual, guys. So I'm going to jump into the Chizat and see who has come in first. I got a heads up, so I kind of know what's going on here. Race fan with the gold. Good evening, Rob. Good evening, race fan. Thank you so much for coming in. I always appreciate you, having the will to come in and be the first one in. That's big, right? It's a big thing. It shows your support and dedication to Spaced Out Radio, and we love that. So continue doing that, race fan, and thanks for coming in. Next up, we got with the silver, Cosmic Joe Chronicles with the alien head emoji, the ET spaceship emoji, and then the live long and prosper. No, it's the horns. Those are the horns. The horns emoji saying sup, Rob, sup, Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Thank you for coming on in. And then lastly, we have with the bronze, Tamoth Man coming in saying good evening, Tamoth Man. Appreciate you showing up, sir. Moving down the list, we got Kitty Catty Whack saying hi with some pretty flower emojis. Appreciate you coming on in, Kitty Catty Whack. Seems like you might be a new to this chat. But if you are new, definitely want to welcome you over to Spaced Out Radio. You have kind of landed on the After Hour show, which we do this on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 8 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. And then you got Jessica Jones, the Crypto Huntress. She rocks the show 7 p.m. Pacific until 8 on Sundays. All right, then we kick into the week. Dave Scott, the conductor of the Woo Train, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific until midnight. So there's 7 days a week. There's always something that you could find right here on Spaced Out Radio. And we would love to see you come back. Let's see, who else do we have? We got Kurt M saying hi all, wavy hand emoji. What's up, Kurt? Thanks for coming on in. We do appreciate you showing up tonight to the After Hours. Who else do we have? We got Penny. Penny is in the chat saying good evening, everyone. Good evening to Penny. Thank you for coming on in. Thank you for showing up at the show. Thanks for showing your love and support for Spaced Out Radio. Who else do we have here? Of course, we got Roger Murray dropping some knowledge on us. Let's go ahead and take a look at this here. Rest in peace, Apollo 8 astronaut Bill Anders. Passed away, age 90. He's killed in a plane crash yesterday. Wow. First human to orbit the moon, December 25th, 1968. James Lovell. Frank Bowman also died last year. You're on your A game, Roger Murray. We do appreciate you always dropping the knowledge on us because it's we're in this field. You should be interested in the history of how we got here. So we appreciate you, Roger Murray, for doing that for us, as you always do. Moving down the list, and thank you for coming in as well, if I didn't say that. Moving down the list here, we got Little Cam 51, Lil Cam 51, not from Twitch this time. Lil Cam 51 is with us on YouTube. So that means Lil Cam 51 is officially within the YouTube chat, and we love that you've done that. But we, regardless if you come in over from Twitch or YouTube, but welcome to the YouTube chat. Thank you for coming in, Lil Cam. St. Louis Battlehawks gearing up for the playoffs tomorrow. Spring football's in full force. Got it. Moving down the list, the man in the back, Drew Bankey, saying, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. That's exactly how I feel, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Who is pumped? That's right, Drew Bankey. Man, that's the guy, right? Roger Murray says he's pumped. That's what I'm talking about. That's the energy we need here tonight, and it's going to be awesome. So can't wait to get into the show. Who else is in here? We got Paramarv saying howdy, folks. Hey, Paramarv, thank you for coming on in. We do appreciate you showing up, man. It's always awesome when you're in the chat. We got Leafy Nebula coming in saying sup, chat. Sup, Leafy Nebula. We do appreciate you showing up and coming on into the after hours. We're going to rock it. You already know we do. That's how we do. Let's move down the list here. We got Lars Jansen saying good morning all with the horns and the love, the heart emoji, spreading love. That's how I like to do it. You know what I mean? Bring that positive energy into the chat and into the show and then outwards to you guys. So hopefully that resonates. Thanks for coming in, Lars Jansen. We appreciate you supporting the show tonight. We got Melvin from Mars saying hello to all. Hey, Melvin from Mars, thank you for showing up tonight. Thanks for coming through to the after hours. Moving down the list, we got, Puck Elf. Of course, Puck Elf saying hugs and fives all. Just gonna lurk and listen from bed today. You take it easy, Puck Elf. Kick back. We do appreciate you coming in and letting us know you're here while you kick back in bed and get your health together. Healing energies out to you, and I hope that gets to you, Puck Elf. Thanks for coming on in. Donna Lair saying hello all from Canada. Hello, Donna. Thank you for coming on in. We appreciate you showing on up to the after hours tonight. Maybe a new name. I don't know if you heard, but this is 7 days a week right here at Spaced Out Radio. I kind of went over it, but you've reached the after hours. We run this particular version of the show Saturdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Pacific to 11 p.m. Jessica Jones, Sunday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific. And then Dave Scott, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. until 12 a.m., right? I guess that's what it is. 7 days a week. So thanks for coming on in, Donna Lair. We appreciate you showing up. Who else do we got? Paranormal Pixie Laura, of course. Holding the axe. Don't mess with Paranormal Pixie Laura. She will chop you down so fast. So trolls beware. She's saying hi, everyone. Hi, Paranormal Pixie Laura. Thanks for coming on in. We appreciate you coming on into the show. Who else do we have here? Oh, we got Miss Mama Catherine Jones saying, hey, Mr. Rob G and SOR family. Hey, Miss Mama Catherine Jones. Awesome being able to talk to you guys earlier today. We're gonna do great things, I feel, Miss Catherine. So yeah, let's keep it going. Thanks for coming on in tonight. And shout out to Charlie. I know he's never in the chat, but shout out to Charlie if you're watching tonight, sir. Keep it up, sir. Who else do we have? We got Richard Minnick. Richard Minnick, thanks for coming on in tonight, saying, what's up, everyone? What's up, Richard Minnick? We do appreciate you showing up tonight to Spaced Out Radio After Hours. Let's see, Dragonfly. Yes, Dragonfly has stepped in the building saying, evening, Robin, SOR chat. Thanks for coming in, Dragonfly. Thanks for showing up at the show tonight. We appreciate you. Moving down the list here. Let's see. Okay, yeah. President Zaddy saying salute right back to you, sir. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for supporting the show here on the weekend. You guys could be anywhere else, right? But you're right here with us, and we appreciate you doing that. Thank you for your support, Zaddy, as always. Let's see. JSCO77 saying, howdy, folks. Hey, JSCO77. Appreciate you coming on in. You are one of the OGs in the chat, and we appreciate you showing your love and support here on the weekend show. Because it's all SOR, right? So just spread the love 7 days a week. Let's see. Paul Demon. They say Paul Demon. I say Demon. I hope that's okay, Paul. Thanks for coming on in. You are always here as well, supporting the show. Thanks for showing up here tonight. Let's see. We got Aloha Dave talking about saludos a todos de Mexico. I put a little accent on that. You see? Okay. Thanks for keeping us bilingual. Aloha Dave. Thanks for coming on in. You always come on in and support, and we appreciate you. Moving down this list here. Who else do we got in here tonight? It is a packed house. Let's see here. Okay. James White saying, hello, Jim White. Hey, James. James. Either way, thanks for coming on in. We appreciate you showing up at After Hours tonight. Should be awesome. Should be very awesome. Let's see. Who else do we have? We got Dark Protocol. Not sure why, but just can't get into After Hours recently. Cryptid Huntress is a must-watch on Sundays, though. Let us know why, Dark Protocol. What is it? Tell me. You got to leave it in the comments. There's no other way that we can know, what your feelings are unless you leave them in the comments. Let us know what we could do better. And we're always taking in suggestions, and feedback is always welcome here at Spaced Out Radio. So let us know what we could do for you. We'll consider it and see if we can apply it. But thanks for coming on in tonight and supporting the show as well. Moving down the list here. Who else do we got? Let's see. W. Decker, of course. The man with the plan, W. Decker, saying hello, Rob G. Hello, W. Decker. Thanks for coming on in, sir. We do appreciate you showing up, supporting the show tonight, as always. Let's see. All right, Susan Alloway. Susan Alloway saying hello, Rob G. and everyone. Hey, Susan Alloway, thanks for coming on in. We do appreciate you coming on into the After Hours tonight. Thanks for showing on up. Let's see. And I like this. Drew Bankey is saying hit the like button. Can we do that early tonight? Can we get that out the way and hit the like button, get those likes up for this show? Drew Bankey is going to be awesome as always. So let's make sure we hit those likes tonight, but only if you like it, right? I don't want to force you to like something you don't like. So hit it if you like it, hit dislike if you don't. Either way, we need you to hit something. So appreciate you. Appreciate that comment there, Drew. Moving down the list here, we got welcome to the show, saying greetings, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on in. It's like a double entendre, right? I guess is that what it is? Because it's like welcome to the show and then greetings. Yeah, I think you know what I mean. Thanks for coming on in. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you showing on up here. Let's see. Derek Galloway, otherwise known as Woo Riders DG, saying, how about them Oilers? I don't know, man. That's not an American sports. I can't really tell you about that, but appreciate you coming on in, though, Derek. Thanks for showing up tonight. Good job with the accent. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Let's see. We are almost there, right? We got Eve saying, Eve is here. Hello, pork chops and mashed potatoes cooking. Okay, sounds delicious. Thanks for coming on in, Eve. Appreciate you showing on up tonight. Christine saying hi. Hi, Christine. Thank you for coming on in and showing up, showing your support here tonight. The after hours, we're definitely going to be getting it in. So, just kick back, relax, get an ice cold beverage if you need it, and get ready for the show. Who else do we have here? We got Dr. Dank Radio Show. Much love from Los Angeles. Dr. Dank Radio Show. Thanks for coming on in. Welcome. I'm about an hour north of you up here in the Bakersfield area. I'm sure you're familiar with. But I do appreciate you coming on and supporting the show here tonight. Let's see, moving down the list. Okay. Let's see. I think that is it. Are we current? Let me see. It looks like we're current. Yep. Yeah, we are. We are. And yeah, we got the first super chat of the night coming from Aloha Dave, just showing love and support. We always appreciate you, Aloha Dave. Say, I'm really looking forward to this show tonight. Great guest choice. Yeah, it's not just a guest choice, right? Friend, family member, all that. You already know Drew Bankey is ingrained in SOR as well. So, it's always love when he comes through. And here we go. Okay. So as we do on Saturday nights, we always hop in the SOR time machine and jump back and check out the week that was Spaced Out Radio, because there's always going to be some awesome guests that you may have missed. Not to, maybe you can't watch it 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Maybe you only catch an episode or two. That's why we have the Spaced Out Radio archives, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, where you will be able to catch anything that you missed. And we will go ahead and take a look at the week that was, so we can see what it was that you may have to go back and check out. So you guys just kick back, and we'll be back after this with our guest for the night, Drew Bankey. So kick back.
When you are astral traveling or astral projecting, what's the difference between that and a lucid dream?
A lucid dream is becoming conscious and becoming conscious within that dream. So you remain in that dream fully conscious. And then when you're astral projecting, you're no longer in your dream. You are in the full astral rather than being in the dream state. So when I become lucid in a dream, I realize I'm dreaming. And at that point, I tell myself I want to, have an out-of-body experience. At that point, I'm taken out of the dream and I'm in somewhere. And when I say I'm on the astral, it could look exactly like it does right now, depending on where you're at. When I was the first time and every other time before that, it looked exactly like it does here, because it's just an overlayment of physical Earth. There might be some differences somewhere, but in most places it looks just like it does here. But automatically that you're no longer in your body. You know that you're in two places simultaneously because you can feel them both. You're aware of them both, and you realize that your perception, your not your eyesight, but your peripheral vision and your vision is so much different. And obviously, you're not walking. You don't have to walk. You don't have to do any of those things. So you don't have a physical body. But the lucid dream means you're still in a dream. Now, I do have a lot of lucid dreams that don't go anywhere, but I remain lucid in that dream only because I choose to, to control my dreams. Let me give you an example. For when I was a kid, I had a lot of nightmares, a long time, really bad ones. And when I grew up, then I didn't have any nightmares anymore.
And I was reading this on X earlier today, where all of a sudden how things just take off. This one person tweeted out, and I'm paraphrasing here, that they're done with the disclosure movement. They're done with the big names. They're done with everything. And it's not because they're mad or there's no proof, because we always hear that argument. They're just mad at the fact that disclosure is not going to come from the government. They basically said that in order to get true disclosure, it has to be personal. It has to be the people. The government isn't going to give us what we want. They're not going to give us the goods on Roswell. They're not going to give us the goods on all the incidents that have happened and the contact that's happened. Do you buy that disclosure is going to be more of a personal expectation than one that the government just hands down to you and chooses what you're going to know?
That's a really interesting question, but I think what comes to my mind first is really questioning, well, first of all, what are we doing in the first place of giving the government basically the power to dictate what we can and cannot interact with and experience and consider as a possibility? I think that's actually a bigger danger than anything else, is that we actually depend so much on the government to give us this kind of information. Permission perhaps to believe in something. That's a dangerous concept, I think, and it's one that we've been battling for a very long time in our human history, which is a mistake, and it's been proven to be a mistake. I think that sovereignty to human and humankind is very important for us to become our own thinkers and to be able to give ourselves our own permission for our belief systems, for the way that we experience reality, how we experience and interact with one another. Because ultimately, we are the ones that are having the sightings, the interactions, the dreams, the dream times and dream experiences with these interdimensional beings. And it's important for us to go back to, let's say, what the ancient cultures did, were to go back inside, to open up those channels of communication and interconnection with this natural world that it revolves around us.
Go back to when you were 3 years old. What happened?
So I'll start by, before we quite get there, this is the hardest part about, not the hardest part, I guess, but one of the harder parts about it being experienced and telling your story. You got to go from A to B to Z to Q to, just so you can understand the next thing. So there may be a time before this. There's some things that lead up to suggest that there were, but this is the first time I remember anything happening. So I got to start there. So I was about 3 years old. We're at my grandmother's house in Southampton, New Hampshire, which is just north of the Massachusetts border. There was some type of family function going on because there were aunts, uncles, cousins. So I don't think it was a holiday. I don't have that feel, but maybe like somebody's birthday party or something. And the way my grandmother's house was set up, you'd walk in through the kitchen, and then there was a dining room, but it was like kind of open to the kitchen. And behind that dining room, there's like a 3-season porch that overlooked the backyard and the woods behind her house. And I walked by that 3-season porch, like into the dining room, and there was just this instant, like, internal call, like an emergency, like, you got to get outside, you got to get outside, you got to get outside. I don't really remember how I got outside, but the next thing I remember, I found myself standing out in the driveway, and not only was I out there standing in the driveway, so was my cousin, who is about 6 months older than I am. But we're both really young. We're raised, in a way that the chance of one of us getting out the door is rare. The fact that two of us are standing there is almost defies the odds in itself. But we're standing in the driveway, looking at each other like, what are we doing? Why are we out here? And that's when we notice the wood line behind my grandmother's lawn starts lighting up with this red light. All we can see is just like this red glow and the silhouette of the trees and stuff. As we're watching it, the light starts to rise, and as it rises and breaks the top of the tree line, we get our first glimpse at this object or craft or whatever you want to call it. And it kind of had what I'd call your typical saucer shape, dome top, domed bottom, wide in the middle.
How do we expand our consciousness to be able to accept ascension, clearing, mindfulness, soul prophecy? How do we do it? How do we start?
That's a really good question. I would say it's about becoming, more self-aware, right? Like what's going on, where your consciousness is at in this process and journey. Understanding your own internal light body and how to navigate within the internal psychic realm and your inner multidimensionality. So it can start as basic as doing some chakra clearing 101, and just kind of understanding the basics. But I think as you transcend and your consciousness evolves, then like it requires more advanced ascension knowledge. I think it's about knowledge. I think light in general, it's about bringing more light into your consciousness field, and light is knowledge. So the more you bring in, the more you expand your ability to basically traverse light fields, intelligence fields. It's always a journey of healing. It's a never-ending process of healing. No matter how far you are in the ascension process, you're always going to have to come back to healing and clearing and releasing blockages and implants. I mean, the whole collective at this point is dealing with multiple sets of universal implant systems that were installed intentionally to block humanity's consciousness. So once you start to do things like basic things like clear your chakras out, get in touch with all of these moving parts in your holographic architecture, start to bring in some sort of spiritual transformative pursuit, like study something along the way that can help you with the opening process, right? Because you have to get more information. Like, of course, it's happening naturally and organically, but you have to start also putting things together, like, and finding things that make sense for what is happening. And so for each one, that's really different. Everyone carries their own journey and path into that, wherever they resonate or whatever they're called in according to their past lives and their ancestral inheritance, what has come before them. So what is going to awaken somebody to something is going to be entirely different for somebody else, according to that Akashic history.
All right. Ready for some audience questions?
Absolutely.
Let's go to Jay Truth Seeker. I'd like to know if our Keith knows anything about the mysterious ET UFO people commonly seen around Comox and Kamloops, British Columbia.
Well, I know which ones I know over there. Now, I have to know what people are seeing to be able to identify them. I can tell you that I know for an absolute certainty are there The Strathosians are there working in tandem with the Canadian military. Okay, not in a combat flying position. Strathosians are your 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilians. Okay, they are there. You might see, depending on where you are, it is quite possible that you'll run into the elephant out in the woods. There is no doubt the Sasquatch is around there, which is not really an alien in my opinion, but what you might call a cryptid. Quite frankly, I refer to them as an ancient race. And of course, you will find the Zeta Reticulans, more often the Beta Reticulans, same species, different race, much like your Orientals as compared to your Africans. Okay, where humans are concerned. And there are a number of other ones that float around at the same that you'll run into periodically. But it's a mix as to whether we are talking about off-worlders or ancient races.
All right, let's go over to Abbott. Keith, what do the aliens think of your impressive sideburns?
I have no idea. Don't get me wrong. That's a mixed bag for everybody. The reality is it's personal choice, even for them.
I bet you that they come in the middle of the night and take precious photos that they sell on Alien Amazon of your sideburns. I swear to God they do. I heard this rumor.
Well, you can swear to whoever. I cannot either corroborate it nor deny it effectively.
Now, Courtney, you have an announcement that you want to make.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nicole. I didn't get to run this by you, but I thought you were sleeping, so I didn't wake you up. But tonight's going to be my last night on SOR. Yeah, I have a night shift thing coming up for a friend that I committed to help them out. So I came tonight to say goodbye to all the SOR community and Dave, and of course not goodbye forever, but I won't be able to do the news 3 nights a week on the third shift, so I came to say goodbye.
Aw, you know what, Courtney, you have been such an integral part of us growing in the UFO world. It's funny because, well, it's not funny, it's actually kind of cool because I see the numbers nightly. And the minute you come on the show, and Nicole as well, our numbers for that third hour all of a sudden go way up in our live listening audience. And I owe that to you guys. And it's tough to see you go, but you know what? I understand. Hey, when you got to take the call to go help out a friend, you have to do that, just like any one of us would. But, Courtney, you have been amazing on this show in breaking some great stories and big news around the UFO world. And, just looking at the love in our chat room that is live during this show, everybody is going to be very well informed because I know you're going to be sticking around on X and doing some X spaces. And hopefully our audience can join you in that. People are already saying, can we refuse to accept your resignation, Courtney?
I can't tell you guys what I'm doing. I wish I could. If I could say, then I think you would all appreciate why I'm taking the third shift for a friend of mine. There's a little bit of illegality involved, So, but I'll be doing news. I'll try to keep up and keep my my news active where I can. I just can't do the night calling anymore, so I'm bummed, but I'll miss everybody on SOR. It was nice to go to Reno and see everybody there, all the usual suspects. So I'll stay tuned in, and I'll keep in touch with Dave and of course Nicole. So we'll keep moving forward, and if I see hot tips, I'll pass them on to Dave and Nicole for sure so they can cover it on SOR.
You mean you'll share tips in our super secret chat group?
Yes, the super secret access. Yeah, don't kick me out. I'll still be the court on the street.
No, it's not even a secret. But yeah, no, like that's where we share I think most of our information. I know both of us or Dave, we're all in multiple groups like that where you do share stuff like that, or at least give a heads up to people of what you're working on and things like that. So
Yeah,
I'll
for sure.
continue to follow along, Courtney. Like I know you and I are cahooted on many levels these days, not just here at Spaced Out Radio.
All right, guys. So awesome week. Yeah, heartbreaking week as well as Spaced Out Radio. Definitely want to give a shout out to Courtney Marcassani. I had the pleasure of meeting her in Reno in person. She's a great person. We are definitely going to miss her here at Spaced Out Radio, and we do wish her the best. She says she's going to stay tapped in with us, so I think that's awesome. And who knows what the future brings. So just want to salute to Courtney Marcassani. Thanks for giving us some great moments. We had some great moments with Courtney this year. And you know, it's definitely a hit to SOR. But I will let you know, Monday, Dave Scott will be announcing some huge news. I'm going to go on the edge and say huge news in relation to Spaced Out Radio. So just some things that are upcoming. And you guys make sure you're here Monday as Dave Scott goes over that information. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into our main meat and potatoes of the show. We're going to bring in a guy you've seen him here before, is an awesome soul. You know, we've covered different aspects of the things that he's been into lately. And it's just he's a real genuine person. I really, you know, feel good when I have conversations with this guy. He always raises the vibration here at Spaced Out Radio when we have these conversations. And I just feel like it's going to be more of that tonight. So without further ado, I definitely want to go ahead and bring in veteran medicine man, healer, remote viewer, experiencer, Mr. Drew Bankey. Hey, Drew, thank you so much for coming in tonight. How you doing?
What's up? How's it going? How's it
Doing
going, guys?
good,
Thanks for having me back, brother. Glad to be here.
All the time, anytime. I always feel like you level us up, man, whenever you come through. So I always appreciate when you accept the offer and the invite and come in and bring some of that positive energy and outlook that you have, man. So let's have some more of that tonight. And I know we're going to get into some really good things. Everybody, you know, we've gone over where you started from, what got you into this, you know, the sacred journeys within is still something that I think is just a huge thing. What do you have going on with that? What's been going on with sacred journeys lately?
Oh man, we just been booked a lot lately. We just got done with a retreat, a personal retreat for one gentleman just a few days ago, and it's actually I shared he shared a testimonial, and I shared it on my Facebook recently. If you want to pull it up, and we can put a little share a little bit on here if you want, but yeah, this guy, you know, he had a major trauma when he was 14 years old. He turned 50 when he was out here. His 50th birthday was during the retreat, and it really wasn't planned. It just kind of worked out that way. So it's kind of, you know, synchronistic. But yeah, he's been, you know, trying to find some type of, and he may be even listening right now. He's been trying to find some type of peace, and 35 years of, you know, psychologists, psychiatrists, all different kinds of treatments. And yeah, he was out here for about 48 hours. And, you know, I just talked to him earlier today, and he left, man, when did he leave? A few days ago. But I talked to him earlier today, and he's still just doing amazing. And he's just kind of dumbfounded at how much peace that come out of it. So we got another retreat starting on Wednesday, and we got and then that one ends, and I think we got one day in between the next one, then two 2 people are coming out for that. And that's one of those, and this is towards the end of the month, but one of those is coming out for the retreat is a lady from Michigan, and she's a professor at a college for psychology. And one of her students had done several ceremonies with me and actually used my first book. He cited my book twice in different papers. So my books have been cited in actually a college paper. So they're like, it shows up in some system. I didn't even realize it could happen like that till after he was telling me about it, but it shows up like in some database once once a book is cited in a college paper, it shows up in the database. So it's been done twice, and his professor is so intrigued by what this gentleman has said about me and what he has got from the ceremonies that she's going to come out and experience it for herself. And that's it's it's all a prayer. That's I want I want to help. I want to help everybody. I want to help people suffering from trauma and everything. But I also want the science community and psychologists and professors to come out and do these ceremonies so they can start to bridge the gaps in their own mind. I feel like this is my major mission right now, is to bridge the gap in between these ceremonial areas or spiritual areas or energetic areas or whatever, and the physical. I feel like a bridge. But if we can get these people that are actually on the front lines teaching this, we could start to really, transform the timeline, I believe. So that's what Sacred Journeys is doing right now, and we're taking we're getting new emails and for new bookings all the time. And we're expanding our equine therapy more. Now we have a riding mule, Ruby. She's a gem, and just all kinds of stuff, on all fronts.
It's always awesome, Drew. I feel really good when you say those things, man, because it's a person doing what they can to kind of make other lives better. You know what I mean? And fulfilling, and to take that upon yourself. You know what I mean? And to say, I'm going to be the one to do that. That's the beautiful part of it. I mean, you live on a beautiful piece of land out there in Colorado, and it's just it just feels like you're just so in touch there with just nature and just the energies of the universe almost, right? And I know you just explained everything that's going on with Sacred Journeys, but I think people should know, which some of them do, but I think they should know like exactly what, like, these people come to your home and you invite these people into your home. If you wouldn't mind kind of just touching that real quick, because I think that's very important.
Yeah, when people come out for retreats, just a small part of the time is they're actually in ceremony or doing a psychedelic ceremony or something like that. A lot of times we're walking the property or sitting inside, having coffee, smoking a joint, where I'm showing them around the property, things like that, just connecting with them on a level, and sharing my stories. I think it's when I openly, I've done well over 100 interviews since 2019 when Grant Cameron gave me my first big interview, and been on SOR probably a dozen times over the years. And but I always share my story, and that's no different when people come out here for ceremony. I want people to know that this healing journey and what I learned about how energy works and things like that come from my own healing. I've been at the depths of hell, in my own personal psyche and emotional state and all that, and suicidal state. So I've been there. So I think it helps, when people see, where I've been, the darkness, and then see me as a father. The kids are always running around, always coming up, grabbing me and want me to hold them and things like that. I'm always interacting with them. We have the solar, and we have the 2 greenhouses and an outdoor garden going now, and then the equine therapy. And, I try to instill like in people that come out here, I was like, this is more than just a ceremony. It's more than just a moment in time. Like if you want it to be, we're talking, you asked me before the show, like what I want to talk about. Like we're talking about like epigenetics, mixing epigenetics, which is a study of thought, interacting with physical matter. So talking about how basically prayers work and words are powerful, and coupling that with the ceremonies, and then showing that the ceremony it lasts forever. Once you do the ceremony or speak to the spirits, their messages is not about like, hey, this is the moment right here, I just need to talk to you. It's about, no, you need to be walking a ceremony, walking more balanced with the earth, balanced with nature. Try to grow your own food. We still go to the grocery store. We still have a grocery bill, but slowly but surely that bill's like dwindling down. My wife is making sourdough bread all the time and constantly expanding like what she's making in the kitchen. And it's not about being a prepper, but it's about being prepared, and there's a difference between being a prepper and being prepared. Like, I've seen things that we need to become more in line with nature, and it's not just a cliche thing. It's a necessity that we all need to wrap our minds around. Go to Walmart and get a tomato plant tomorrow, and put it in your windowsill if you can't have a garden. If you can have a garden, plant a garden. But at the very least, have something where you can grow food and eat that food. It does something spiritually. It does something energetically. It starts this circle, this symbiotic, spin in you, but get it started, and it starts with growing something and eating it, and then processing like, I grew that. That's what it starts with, and that's what we try to instill when people come out here. So we not only, like I said, the ceremony is just a small fraction of the time when people are out here. Mostly, it's about showing how you can integrate the teachings of the ceremony into your everyday life.
Man, so deep, always so deep. And that's why I loved having the conversation with you. And I agree. I mean, I think when you talk about connecting with nature and the connection that we've lost with nature, and you said, it's not being a prepper, it's just being prepared, which I think is beautifully said. Because, yeah, I mean, if you cut the lights off on a lot of people right now and it was up to them to reconnect with nature, right, it'd be hard for a lot of people to do, because it seems like we're getting further and further away from that. So leading by example and doing what it is that you guys are doing out there, I think in the words that you just spoke right now, just something as simple as going to get a tomato plant, put it in your windowsill. And you're right. My mother, she has, and she's just in the city, Sacramento, middle of the city, but she has set up a garden in her backyard where she's growing corn, cucumbers, and things of that nature. And she gives that to me, some excess. And it does seem to be a lot more pure. I don't know what it is than what I'm buying from the store. So that connection, though, is something that I agree that we should be trying to reconnect with that. So you always give some awesome stuff. Now, I did look. I know you sent me a video. Is that the one that was the testimonial?
I don't know, but this guy that's message right here, Ben, that's the gentleman that was just here for this last retreat. So,
oh, awesome.
Yeah, and let's get me on Rogan, man. My boy Billy was just on.
Yeah, he was.
I can fill in all the chapters that Billy didn't get to when he was on, but
yeah, it's so worth it, man. I'm behind that push, man. I agree. Let's get Drew Bankey on a huge platform like Joe Rogan, because we need people with that mindset and that viewpoint to be able to speak to the people, because it's a lot of great words. Plus, I haven't seen anything. I couldn't say anything bad about you, Drew. There just isn't anything there. I mean, everything I'm seeing is like pure, authentic, and really is selflessly done to help others. And that's the same mission I'm on. And that's why I always love talking to you, man. So I want to make sure that we get into everything that you want to talk about today. So I know you brought up the epigenetics. So if you want to talk more about that.
Yeah, epigenetics, is basically, I think I've done it on SOR before. The demonstration I do with the pendulum,
Yeah.
and so that's epigenetics. That's really the basis behind epigenetics. That's basically moving things with your thought, or your thoughts interact, or the study of your thoughts interacting with outside world. So the study of your intention, your mindset, and specific word combinations, things like that. It gets pretty deep. But basically, what I want to speak on is the combination between epigenetics, and if you really understand epigenetics and then go in and use that understanding when you go into a sacred ceremony, say with bufo or ayahuasca. It's very common, and with most practices, most tribes and everything, to have a meeting beforehand, especially with ayahuasca or any of these major psychedelics that really take you to a limit, is to talk about your intention before you drink the medicine, or before you take the medicine, before you go into the ceremony. What I have been experimenting with, and I started off with myself, was to remember or write down a specific, very short intention. And while I was in the ceremony, after I take the medicine, remind myself or repeat that intention. And man, so I've learned that, especially with bufo, bufo various of 5-MeO DMT, its ability to magnify the natural epigenetics of a word that you say, it takes it to an astronomical level, and I'm almost able to, to manifest things that, it's not a magic potion or anything, but I have seen evidence of manifestation coming from these ceremonies while doing that. So the ceremonies that we do now with bufo, we've been serving going on 2 years now, and it's 100% 100% positivity rating with our bufo ceremonies. People that go into it, report back, life-changing moments after doing it and everything. 100% of the time, each and every one of them that we've worked with over the years. And it's just amazing medicine, man. It needs to be looked at more. It's being worked with extensively down in Mexico with veterans, that coupled with iboga. So they do iboga and 5-MeO retreats down there. But yeah, the power of some of these medicines and some of these ceremonies that are coming out now is amazing. I can't
Now,
talk
what
enough.
is the experience like in one of those sessions where the epigenetic session where you are doing bufo and using the pendulums, right? Are you experiencing, or is a person experiencing like an elevated like state of consciousness in those moments, or like how would you describe the effect or feeling?
Well, we wouldn't be using the pendulum in ceremony. I just brung up the pendulum because that is what epigenetics, that is the basis behind epigenetics, is the study of this 3D physical world being affected by our thoughts, intentions, moods, vibration. So that's why I brung up the pendulum. So we're set the pendulum to the side. The pendulum's not part of a ceremony. What we do work with now, after the person has, so I talked to them extensively. The workup before bufo takes a lot longer than the actual ceremony itself. The actual ceremony itself is, matter of 10 to 15 minutes. The major part of it, the whole thing start to finish, is about 45 minutes or so, 50 minutes. That's
Mm.
it. But the workup beforehand, we talk to people on the phone, we do phone interviews, we talk to them extensively beforehand, and especially right leading up to the actual ceremony before they ingest the medicine, because 5-MeO bufo DMT, 5-MeO DMT, bufo various, when vaporized, you're only doing a half a carat. We weigh out specific amounts of the medicine, trying to make it safe environment as possible. But a half a carat is a dissociative dose. That's a 10-second inhale, and that's a dissociative dose. But before we administer that medicine, because there's really no talking to someone after they've taken it, they're basically really out of their body and having an out of body experience if it's administered correctly, and they take the they inhale and hold it, follow all the instructions like we give them, they go out of their body. But before they take the medicine, we ask them, what do you want me to talk to basically, what do you want me to say to your higher self? It's basically, I'm sure you've been on this show long enough. You've heard of QHHT. A lot of listeners have. It's pretty much like QHHT. I've been regressed a few times, but it's, you're talking to the higher self, when, especially after they take the hit, and, about 30 to 45 seconds later, you're talking to their higher self. You can ask the higher self to scan the body, what's hurting, this, that, and the other. But, I always ask the person, what do you want to work on? Like, be pretty specific. Don't give me a whole laundry list, but give me something that, peace, whatever you got, you pain in your chest, whatever, like we're figuring it out with the higher self. But, definitely working on an energetic level with the body. So and it works. It's amazing how it works.
Yeah, it sounds like almost like a form of therapy almost, right? So you as the person administering this, you're not under anything, right? You're just your normal conscious self, but the person is under, and you're speaking to their higher self. Is that correct?
Well, no, that's not totally correct. I do take a small hit, so I don't take anywhere close to what they're taking, but I do take a hit to raise my vibration. And I've worked with the medicine, just like I have with ayahuasca and everything. The dietas are, basically taking it, daily for extended amount of time, basically microdosing, mixed with large doses in between, and until you basically get to the point where I don't have to take a large hit or anything. I just take a small hit, and it's I get to where I need to be to do the ceremony, basically, and stuff comes to me intuitively a lot easier that way.
Makes sense. That totally makes sense. Well, right now we're about to go into this break, Drew. So we're gonna hold, and we got a lot of stuff to get into for hour number 2. And everybody, get your questions ready. Pick this man's brain here. Find out what you can from him while we have him here. But until then, yeah.
Look at that. This is for James White. He's in the chat. This is my brother James White. He's a Uwippi man. I just got this. I just turned 44 on April 11th, and someone come for a sweat that I put on, and he gave me this. So that's for James White, to let him know. Love you, brother.
That's right. And you guys don't go anywhere. We're going to take a pause for the cause as we get ready to jump into our first break of the night and get back into more conversations with Drew Bankey. You guys kick back, and we'll be back.
Conversations that move the needle. You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio After Hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, and our guest tonight, Mr. Drew Bankey, as we go ahead and get into some more of the conversation, right? We're going to go ahead and touch some other things. But first, you guys are already space travelers. Consider taking the next step and join the club. That's right. You can join our SOR Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 a month. Consider doing that right over at our Patreon. I'm sure the link is in the chat as we go ahead and get right back into the show. Drew, okay, so I have the testimony here, and I wanted to go ahead and I guess we can lead off with this here. Let me go ahead and bring it in the show here. All right, let me okay, here we go. All right, so if you want to let everybody know what this clip is.
Yeah, this is the last gentleman that was just here for ceremony. He's actually in the chat and everything. Oh, I just want to put out a disclaimer. I'm in the middle of a storm right now, so if you hear stuff in the background or wind, nothing I can really do about it. So, but it is pretty intense right now. But yeah, he was just here, and he was here for a sweat lodge and then 2 ceremonies with Bufo Various. And after 35 years, he found 35 years of other therapy. This is what it took, was coming out here to finally find some type of peace. So.
All right. And I want to make sure, because it was trying to play this other video, but here we go. Bring it into the show. And
this is on my Facebook, so if anyone wants to see the.
Yeah, let's see. Let's play that again. For some reason, it doesn't want to let me play it. Let me see here.
It just never ceases to amaze me, man. I get emotional just every time, because people come out here and they're just so desperate for some type of peace, and it's just amazing to witness it all the time. So
awesome. Let me see if it'll play now. I'm on Facebook. Very strange. Let me see. Okay.
So Ben, why did you come out here to Secret Dreams Within?
Really to deal with past trauma when I was a teenager, and for up till yesterday on my 50th birthday, have been dealing with 35 years of hate, anger, rage, and it would just take like one small thought, negative thought, to trigger everything that has gone on in my life. And when that happens, I would just blow up. I've been through multiple psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, you name it. But it's hard to explain, but they couldn't get to the root of the problem. Or maybe I didn't want to get to the root of the problem. But after an incident, I called a buddy of mine, and he referred me to Drew Bankey to come out and smoke some Bufo Various. And my buddy thought it would help, and I talked to Drew and his wife Ella, and Drew thought that the Bufo would be good for me, and Ella also recommended a sweat lodge, which was my first experience. Quite hot, but very cleansing. So basically just to find inner peace. I did 2 ceremonies yesterday on my birthday. And after the second one, it was very blissful. And when we got back to Drew's place and I went to bed, it was difficult for me to go to sleep because I was so used to thinking about everything. And it would take a long time for me to just calm down my mind. Well, last night, I couldn't think of anything. And, I didn't try really hard, but nothing would come, like right here. And, it took me like an hour.
Yeah. Awesome
There's more of it. You guys can go over to my Facebook to check it out. But yeah, it's really changed his life, and that's the story all the time. In some way, form, or fashion, it does what it's supposed to do. And like I said, I get emotional all the time about it because just it's like one of the greatest. I don't know, one of the greatest jobs in this world, to be able to witness this. And the conversations that we have with these people beforehand, and then to see them when they leave, and Ben is no different. It's just a night and day thing, and talking to him afterwards, it's it doesn't go away. They might still have bad days, but how they process those moments are just processed in a different way. Life still happens, but they just look at it gives you some lasting impression of looking at life from a slightly different perspective.
Yeah, and it was awesome, and it did kind of pull on your emotional, heartstrings there, man. And you could tell that that the gentleman really was affected by his experience, and was really, it appeared to be very grateful for being able to be exposed to this. So I think it's awesome stuff, Drew. How, like, is there a list of people that, like, how do you get on a list to connect with Drew on something like this?
Just go to sacredjourneyswithin.com. Journeys is spelled with an IES, like behind me. And I think I put a link in the chat at the beginning when we first started everything, linked a few things. But yeah, you can go there and fill out a request, for information or intake, and it starts off like that. So, there's a process. We do, there's a screening. We go through a questionnaire. We go through an intake where you're set down and basically do a phone or a Zoom call with me and Ella, and we're doing basically a medical intake and see what what medications you're on, your health history, things like that. These are serious ceremonies, especially with Bufo various. Like, we need to treat it with respect and also make sure that people are healthy going into it, healthy as possible. And safety, the people's safety is our utmost concern out here. And
Yeah.
But it starts off like that, and then we talk about dates. We're into July and August now booking. So yeah, but yeah, the place where people stays right here beside me. We have a queen size bed here, and we put another cot in here if more than one person stays. So yeah, all food's provided and all that, and we cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the people. And normally about 2 days is good for people to come out. A couple ceremonies. Right now, working with Bufo is it's effective, and it's doesn't take as long as ayahuasca does. The ceremony for ayahuasca, it can be 6 to 8 hours, if not more.
Wow.
So working with Bufo is it's very effective, and basically it gives people a source, a moment of source, and they really understand source after working with Bufo, and really understand the energy coming from the sun in a different way, and just it just opens up a lot of understandings that you can't put back in the bottle, and you have no choice but to apply it to your life. So it's kind of a foolproof thing, but the way our program works here, it's pretty effective. So.
And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, but then also I just want to point out, which we talked about in the last interview I had with you, that the stars kind of aligned and the energies. I think it's an example of that energy that you put out into the world coming back to you, where you were put in a position where you had the opportunity to connect with the Homestead Rescue, where you, with your own hands, because I saw it on film, built retreat building that you're in right now. So I think it came back to you, and it kind of provided a new place for you to receive people and kind of help out in what's going on. So I think it's that synergy, right? That spiral that you showed, that yin and yang, and it's just I'm watching it happen, and I think it's a really awesome thing. You guys need to definitely make sure you go catch that episode of Homestead Rescue that featured Drew, beautiful wife, daughter, family, and you'll kind of get that other connection that I'm talking about when you watch that. And then just to preface the testimonial that we just watched, so we did cut it right there, but Drew said you can actually go watch the full thing on his Facebook page. So make sure that you do that. You might be, as Welcome to the Show said, you might have tears in your eyes by that testimony. But getting into more of this talk here, man, because there's so many roads we can go down. I know before we jump into the other stuff on the list, let's talk about the telekinesis, right? So what's going on with that? If you want to go ahead and present that to the people here tonight.
Yeah, a lot of things, that we got. I got some projects that's being talked about and on the burners. That's actually going to be displaying this, in a much more mainstream manner. But guess I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, the telekinesis is what I was talking about before with the pendulum. I did that actually. That's another part of it. Like when people come out, like I'm able to show things in person. That's kind of hard to articulate over the phone, or but people come out in person. It strikes a chord, and it goes. The telekinesis ties back to epigenetics, because telekinesis is moving things with your mind. But the thing that you have to think about with telekinesis, it starts off with the pendulum and starting to have the lighter and have the pendulum over the lighter, and how you speak about the lighter, whether you talk about the 3D aspect and just the physical aspect of it, or why it's important, and showing it gratitude for lighting. Say, I light a piece of Palo Santo, and do a little smudge before each interview. So this lighter here that stays in the office, it's lit. It's lit that piece of Palo Santo several times that lays up there in the shell. So it's sacred. And you can watch the pendulum move differently, but not only watch it, but I do an interactive demonstration where people are holding the pendulum themselves, and I'm saying they're talking about it back and forth, and have the people talk about it back and forth, so they know it's not me it's not my energy moving it, it's just our energy moving it. And you don't even have to talk about it, you can think about it. I tell people, play around with it. Take the pendulum and hold it over, and don't even talk about it, think about it, and you can see proof that your thoughts are manifesting and transmuting energy through objects. And I just use a lighter for example. People get caught up and think, well, something about the flame or whatever. It doesn't have anything to do with that. I just use a lighter because most people have a lighter sitting around, you know. But that's the basis of telekinesis, and I think part of my mission here on this planet in this time is going around and walking people through this, whether it be on a show like this or in person, but to do it and have people experience it for themselves, because uh, what we saw, like some of the stuff was talk about on the SOR review, what Dave was talking about in his interviews, you know, the power of the mind and how it interacts with physical matter and intention and all that really needs to be looked at more. And that's really the basis of this disclosure. It's not nuts and bolts and this and that. The basis of the all these contact events and spiritual events and spiritual epiphanies and people having waking up in between 1 and 3 in the morning and having synchronistic numbers pop up all the time. It's all part of the same thing. Like Grant Cameron said, this is contact modalities, and I fully 100% believe that. T-Bone, thanks for showing SOR some love, man.
Exactly. And you kind of segued right into it, man, because I was going to talk about, the power of consciousness. And that's kind of like the approach. I mean, even with the healing and everything that you're into, it all goes back to the power of the mind, and something that a lot of us haven't unlocked yet. But technically, when they have these sit downs with you, that's technically what they're doing in these sessions, is unlocking the mind and kind of, accessing that higher level of consciousness, which hopefully, one day we all learn to do, or at least have an experience doing it. Because I think once you feel it and you understand that you can unlock your mind and experience things on that higher level, that it's something that you'll want to either come back to or try to, make that a full-time thing, like raise yourself permanently to that higher level. So doing the work you are individually doing, and just think if there were a lot of other people out there doing exactly what you're doing, helping people find that place and unlock, I think the world definitely would be a better place. And it's the type of disclosure that we're talking about, because you're right, it's not nuts and bolts when it comes down to it. When we get on the other side of disclosure, it's going to be all about raising your consciousness. So I think that's beautiful, right? And and when we talk about that, then we can get into the other subject here, which would be like the remote viewing, because obviously when you unlock your mind, then you're able to tap into things like remote viewing. What would you say, to the audience about remote viewing? What is your perspective on that, and how could it benefit us as humanity?
It's been used by the powers to be that's been controlling this planet since at least the 40s or before. It's starting to be disclosed now because all the whistleblowers coming out. Joe Monanego, and I might have just butchered his name, but Monaego or whatever. He teaches at Monroe Institute, but he's one of the very first, if not the very first, remote viewer as part of this program and things. We're just calling the programs, CIA programs or whatever, maybe even deeper than CIA. But he was been remote viewing and working for the government and the military and things like that, contractors, for a long time. This guy was on Sean Ryan's show a few months ago now, probably about 4 or 5 months ago now. But he was talking about, he was remote viewing, and he teaches at the Monroe Institute now. If you can get in with him. Like he's an amazing person. Like, he's one of the elders that, is getting up there in age. So get some time with him before he passes on, because it's a wealth of information. But he was sharing on this podcast I was listening to how he was teaching at the Monroe Institute, and 2 guys in suits come in. They were with the CIA, and they had a manila envelope. On the outside of the manila envelope, they had some GPS coordinates. That's all. And they handed it to Joe and said, Can you look at this? And common practice with remote viewers, they don't open up the envelopes. They just put their hands on them and try to feel the energy, this, that, and the other. So he was doing all that. They left it with him for a while, and basically they came back, and he had jot down what he's seen and everything, and he was talking about pyramids, people laying in stasis, and all this stuff, and like pyramids way bigger than the pyramids in Egypt. And he was talking how the environment looked weird and all this other stuff. And the guys thanked him, took his notes and everything, and walked out, and left the envelope with him. Said, "You can open it after we leave." They leave. He opens the envelope, pulls it out. It said Mars 1 million BC.
Wow.
That was where he was visualizing. He was talking about there's an impact crater there that's like 3,000 miles across or something like that, and like so many thousand feet deep. And he talks about just all kinds of crazy stuff. But I believe it all, man. I mean, I've had some crazy experiences. I'm about to release a recording from me channeling Osiris back in 2018. I'm about to release a clip of that tomorrow on my Facebook. But the pyramids and how much Egypt is ingrained in all this. Egypt is coming up more and more. People messaging me and having dreams about Egypt and all this stuff. And Billy Carson, got to mention him. He was just on Joe Rogan. Shout out to him. Got 1.6 million views in 24 hours. That's crazy.
He blew it up.
Crazy. He's got one of the top rated shows on Joe Rogan right now. So that goes to show the power of consciousness and all this stuff. I want to share a little something about Billy. Like people might have mixed feelings about Billy. This is what I know about Billy. When my son Hawk was born, he was born at almost 29 weeks, almost 12 weeks early. He was 2 pounds. We spent 6 weeks in the hospital when he was born. You want to know one of the first people that sent money to help out me and my family when all that was happening? Billy Carson.
Whoa. That's big.
Straight up. Straight up.
Big. And I met Billy when I was doing the show Why the Big Secret were with Rod Martin, and I met him the one time, but I'm trying to get him as a guest on this show. So I'm reaching through some channels to see if that can happen. Because you're right. I mean, there's people mixed feelings, but I like to kind of look at the positive that people do, right? And I think when I listen to him talk, there's definitely some things that stand out to me. As far as where it seems like he's trying to guide the minds of people, right? And so I see that as pure. I see that as pure intent there, regardless of the other things that people may say. But that's awesome, man, that he would reach out and do that. So shout out to Billy for that. So let me ask you this: remote viewing yourself. And you just mentioned, so the person that you were speaking about remote viewed, and it was Mars million BC. So I was under the impression that with the pyramids, I was under the impression that remote viewing was your current time. I didn't know you could actually look back and all that. Have you had your own experiences with remote viewing personally?
Yes and no, and I actually have a well-documented case that's actually a MUFON, case number 155233 out of the state of Colorado. Jeremy Ray was the lead investigator along with other people, but Jeremy Ray was one of the key investigators for my case. He's been on Ancient Aliens and everything. But we started talking about my physical and this was years ago. I stopped reporting to MUFON because it seemed like it was just too much work, and it just started happening all the time. So I actually just stopped doing it. But this is when I first started having contact, with ships and everything. But so I was talking to him, and we were going through a few instances that I had out here in this valley. 2 instances with physical crafts. And then he was asking me, is there anything else happened that outside the physical or like conscious related? As I told him, like, well, one time I was outside meditating, and not really a hardcore like Buddhist meditating, but I was just sitting outside and let my mind wander. And I'd close my eyes, and I saw a beam that was coming into my head, like from space. Not a beam, not like a spiritual thing. I knew it was like non-organic, energy that was coming to my head. So I left my body in this meditation, and I followed that beam, and I went out and found a satellite. And from that satellite, I followed another main energy pathway, and I went into a secret underground base, and I went into a control room. And I was in the control room, and he asked me what I remember from inside the control room. I described what people were wearing, how many monitors were on there, and everything. And I saw my face on some of those monitors, and I saw other people. I saw a lot of people that were like doing ceremonies in different parts of the world, and really open up conscious like that. I saw that they were able to track from energy signature, and they were tracking some of these people with satellites, and I was one of them. And I told him that, and I never heard anything after that from him. But that's what I went through. And you can read the whole thing. Like I said, 155233 is my MUFON case number, and it's in the database. You can look it up. It's in the national database.
Man, when I think about remote view, I mean, it's obvious it's a real thing. And the reason why I say that is because I haven't had experience myself with it. But when you, just like you talked about earlier with the government programs that focused on remote viewing, it makes me feel like I'm under the impression that they totally know about the things and the abilities that we can unlock. And it just makes it. And when people talk about, they won't tell us about UFOs. It's the bigger thing is they won't let us know how far we could ascend. So even forget the ETs and UFOs, just as humans here on Earth, the governments know that we can ascend consciously, and they're suppressing it on purpose, which I think is an even bigger crime against humanity than just hiding the fact that UFOs and ETs are visiting. So, kind of touching that and saying that, I did want to kind of move it forward, because I know you had sent
our relationship, Rob. That's what they're hiding. Our relationship, like you can. This is not a theory. We have stardust in our body. Like there's songs. There's actually festivals and conferences that are called Stardust Festival, and they're like, this is no secret. You can do the research and look it up on your own, and don't take my word for it. Like, but I'm not gonna lay. I don't have I can't lay all links, but we have actual stardust in our bodies. We have crystals in our bodies. Like, more and more people's talk. I've been talking about it for years. I talk about it in my books. There's crystal shards in our eyes, and there's a reason why people are drawn to crystals when they go down the spiritual path or awakening path. Like, it's a real thing. Like, there's actual energy, like, but it's a relationship with the crystals that we have actually in our body. But ultimately, what is being hid from us is the relationship that we have with that's visiting. These are our ancestors. These are past, present, and future. This is us 2 million years in the future. Like this, there's no other thing that makes sense. There's nothing else that feels right in my body. There's nothing else that coincides with the visions and feelings I've had in ceremonies over the years. There's nothing else that doesn't. That is the truth for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
until something comes along that shakes that, but I feel it deep in my body, and everything about it feels right. I talk about it all the time. Like, I've asked ayahuasca in the beginning, like, when is disclosure coming? It said, when you look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Disclosure will come when you look in the mirror. Stop looking up, stop looking around, look inside. Like in the review, someone said, I heard it in one of the clips, maybe as Geraldine. Geraldine's a great friend. I've been co-hosting on the panel for UFO Man, and had the pleasure of having a lot of people, talking to a lot of people, and having Geraldine on. She's right there with the same vision, same thought process, and what this is all about. It's about a relationship, and that's what's unfolding right now. It's not what planet are they from, what star system, this, that, and the other. All that's fun, and a lot of it's true. The star, us being seeded from different star systems. I fully believe I'm seeded from the Sirian star system, and I think all of us have different origins in that. But that's where we're from the stars. We are star people.
Yeah. I
We
can buy
are,
into that.
the Native Americans talk about star people being here since the beginning of time.
Yep.
We are the star people. We are
Yep.
the aliens. Like, more and more people saying it, and I've been saying it for years. I'm glad now that I'm getting the backing from all these bigger names as validating me and in the public, and just my own personal validation.
Yeah, it's true fact. And like I say, I mean, what you say holds weight. And I'll tell you why. Because you have some people that are also connected and kind of enlightened, but it's something that's part-time for them. And I think the validity for you, in my eyes, when I'm looking, is that you've like spiritually opened up your life in every aspect to being able to connect on a spiritual level. I mean, in every aspect, like you said, growing your own food, living off the grid, tapping into the ayahuasca and the bufo, and just all these different things that I think kind of as a being, as a spiritual being, like on every level, allows you to connect like this. So when you say these type of things, I take it with weight and validity. So, and I think others out there do too, because you practice what you preach, you live it. So I think that that's really awesome. Now, I know you had, and I wanted to know about this because you were talking about Egypt and the Grand Canyon being owned by NASA. What does that even mean? Are you able to go into that?
Yeah, again, that's I had, when I used to have Eagles Nest podcast, when I used to have long dreads and everything,
Awesome dreads.
maybe 2.5 years ago or so, when I had Eagles Nest in the house before it got bigger. Now the Eagles Nest is a little bigger, but I had Billy on, and we had a 2-hour long. No, it was just over an hour. But man, we talked about Egypt, all types of things, the relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Osiris and Isis, how they could very well be the same soul, like that operates, and that soul could very well be incarnated right now in another incarnation. Anyways, he was talking about, and has talked about several times before. He told a story about how he was flying, went to some dinner or some type of function where he rode a helicopter into the base, into the bottom of the Grand Canyon. They had like a dinner or a snack, something set up there, and he tried to like sneak away, and he was met by armed personnel with military grade weapons, all in black, and basically had a short conversation with them and asked him why he couldn't go no further. He said, can't go no further because any further back in the Grand Canyon is owned by NASA.
Wow.
And, he's been to Egypt, several times. I'm really, my goal for, this next, hopefully by the end of this year, I hopefully end up in Egypt, but myself. but he's been there, and he said a similar story. There's parts of Egypt, especially around the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, that are off limits because those areas are owned by NASA. So, so the connection between the pyramids and Orion and Orion's belt, I believe in it so much I got it tattooed on my arm. But the connection between that and the Great Pyramids, on my other hand, there's similarities that can't go unnoticed there. GPS coordinates and latitude, longitude coordinates, they line up almost exactly to very specific numbers. They line up. So there's I believe there's maybe a star portal. I definitely, the stuff with the Grand Canyon, if you can do enough research there, I've heard, I haven't seen them personally, but I've heard that you can go back and find news clippings from back in the early 1900s and talking about people go in the Grand Canyon and finding huge statues. And those statues are, from what I understand, are praying to Osiris and Isis and other deities that are in Egypt. So I think, my theory is what happened in Egypt happened many places around the world at different time frames and also on other planets. I think the formula, having the different pyramids in different specific spots, I think that was recreated on other planets as well. It's known that through Brad Olson's work and things like that. There's pyramids in Antarctica, and ships laying dormant. There's just all types of things that are coming out now. Bob Lazar, it's well known that one of his or the craft that he was studying come from archaeological dig site. Like it was found in an ancient archaeological dig site.
Yeah, I've heard him say that.
I think what we're going to be seeing, maybe even this year, I think we're about to find more crafts. I know of another site that's being excavated right now down south from some very credible people, that another craft is being excavated as we speak. And there's going to be a documentary being released on that.
Yeah, you would have to imagine that would be the case. They're digging up cities that were completely covered under all sorts of earth, for a better word. And so you would imagine that along those digs they should find something for sure. And what, as far as the pyramids go, what is your theory on their purpose? Some people say energy stations or things of that nature. Do you believe in that, or what do you think the purpose was for the pyramids?
Energy, and I think it has to do with consciousness. It's very well known, there's chambers that have very interesting resonances in them. So it's been multiple people have talked about how you go in some of these chambers and start to get dizzy or pass out or hear a hum, this, that, and the other. And that's been said about several different chambers inside the Great Pyramid. So if you were to go in one of these Great Pyramids with the intention of using that, instead of going in there and okay, it's making me feel weird, but if you knew that, to use, produce a certain octave or take a certain instrument in there or something like that, even a whistle or anything, as the wind's whistling in this cabin, but even a whistle in a room like that could be magnified. So, I asked my teacher Renato from Chile, my medicine teacher, for plants, mainly ayahuasca, San Pedro. I asked him why we don't see a whole lot of pyramids around here. He's like, well, you have mountains. He's like, you don't need pyramids if there's mountains. And so I think it's more, energy. You can feel it. You can feel it when you do ceremonies on the mountain or meditate on the mountain. Sages from around the world for eons have been going on top of a mountain and meditating, because it's about, you need to get your set and setting right. It's set and setting with psychedelic ceremonies, or it's about set and setting with anything. Like if you're going to use epigenetics, and we're doing full circle here with the whole this whole conversation, you're working with epigenetics when you're setting on top of a mountain. But would it work if you're setting on flat ground in the middle of Central Park and in New York, or would it be better if you went out to the middle of Colorado and climbed on top of the 14er and sat on top of 14,000 feet? Your mind has a different perspective, and you're visualizing. I think that's why I'm set out here in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm surrounded, a 360 view. If you've seen the show on Homestead Rescue on Discovery Channel, season 11, episode 1. Quick plug.
Shout out.
But, I maybe done that plug a few times over the past year or so, but I'm surrounded by 14,000 foot mountains all around me. The elevation where I'm setting, the houses where I'm setting has over 8,000 feet. Where my office is, I got a 360 view. So it's about putting yourself in the mindset, like to expand, and I think with the pyramids, with the mountains, it was no different,
Yeah, and I thought I had a view of the this is from the other show we did. I didn't have a view of the area, but this is the best way you guys could see it. You can see there's nothing around for miles, and I guess behind the camera is where the mountains are. So it's a beautiful setup. That makes sense, being on top and kind of being able to have a different perspective on how that could play into it. And then also going into the energy part of it. If you think about power stations today, they're strategically placed to support a population, different areas, right? And that makes sense why you would have Egyptian pyramids in Southern America, pyramids in other places that they're discovering, if they were energy stations being strategically placed around the globe. That kind of makes a lot of sense.
And I think, with the pyramids, there's definitely a aspect of water from the Nile. It's no secret. There's a lot of limestone deposits under the Great Pyramids in that area, and those caverns were definitely evidence that was shown that those caverns were flooded with water at certain times.
Right.
So I think the reaction between water and the limestone, the limestone deposits definitely have some type of energetic, or I don't know what exactly it did, but I do know that it was definitely part of it. So energy stations, or anywhere where we're finding pyramids, I would venture to look at the meridian points and chakra points of the earth. I bet they coincide with each other. I almost guarantee they coincide with each other. Just like we have a chakra system, meridian lines and meridian points, that's what allows us to do Reiki healing, and the pendulum things and all that. We're just basically showing energy, coming off us as well. They can be shown with the pendulum and dowsing rods. Dowsing rods and pendulums are basically do the same function. It's funny because we had our well dug out here maybe about 2 years ago or so. And when the guys were out here, I was like, you guys have heard of dowsing rods, or you guys use, ever heard of anyone using dowsing rods? And they're like, yeah, we carried around multiple dowsing rods in our truck, like for when we drill. Like,
wow.
Every well driller has a set of dowsing rods. I'm like, wow, it's crazy that, with technology and all that stuff, they still use, ground penetrating radar and things like that, looking for aquifers when they do, when they dig wells, but they also get out there first and foremost with the dowsing rods,
Yeah.
and that's no different. And well, it is a little different, but it's deeply connected to the conversation we were having about the pendulum and the lighter and all that stuff. Because
Yeah.
you're picking up and sensing energy that's coming out of the earth. Just like we have electricity in us, like this is something that people kind of brush over when they're talking about humans. We have electricity in us.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
your heart stops, you get shocked with electricity to get your heart back going. Just like if you're, jump starting a car. It's a little different, but think about that. The earth has the same thing. She has electricity in her. Oh,
Mhm.
well, on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
This is how, delving into how crafts operate in our space. They use magnetic technology and energetic electricity technology to operate in our space.
Yeah, and you meridian lines like ley lines, things of that nature is kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But and that's why it's good, being that there's energy. It's the same electricity that powers, I think, the universe, everything within it. Which is why people say go outside with your shoes off so you can kind of connect to that energy. And it really does. There it is a thing, because I was a kid that used to run around with no shoes for sure, all the time, and it's definitely different than having shoes on. Just the connection that you feel with the earth. I used to think it made me faster because I would take my shoes off and run with with no shoes. But when I think back on it now, I can think of and feel the difference as far as connecting with the earth. Like the shoes are a barrier or a buffer between you and the earth. So I'm just like, it all makes sense. It totally, and everything else that walks around this planet walks barefoot to the earth. So it all makes sense. Now, because we have a couple questions, but I did want to ask you, tying when we're talking about the energy stations potentially being what those pyramids are for, then you see the evidence of what may be pyramids on Mars. What is your theory on that? Do you feel like we may have inhabited Mars at one point, or what's your view on that, real quick?
Well, I think we're from Mars.
I think so too.
I don't think we're from here.
No.
We're there's stuff coming out about the circadian rhythm is more aligned with the circadian rhythm on Mars and Earth. We're slightly off from here. I think something happened, and I think we had to find a place to go, and this was very close. I think it happened. I don't think we have any idea how long ago it was. I think it was I think people are going back millions and trillions and this and that. I think it's way longer than that, and I think we come here for a reason, and I think, I talk about it before. Everything has a chakra system. Like everything has chakra points. So if we're looking at our solar system, what would be the chakra points of our solar systems? The planets themselves. What's the third planet from the sun, which would be the heart chakra? The Earth. So I think, I think we're the aliens here, and I think that we're turning on to amazing abilities. Each and every one of us have the ability to do this. Getting back to Joe Montego, the remote viewer that works at Monroe Institute, he was talking about in his interview that since 9/11, there is over 40 terrorist organizations that are known to be using remote viewing. That's probably one of the scariest statements I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Because how do you get away? I've heard deeper stories of the remote viewers actually fighting, like remote viewers being in a room and remote viewers from another place trying to come in and see a meeting. And this other remote viewer was sent there to like protect the meeting and actually kicking this guy like out of the dimensional space. Like we're talking some pretty far out stuff, but why not? We're just starting. We're starting to figure out now that the powers to be, the world powers have known about consciousness, UFOs, all this shit for so long. Like you said at the beginning of the show, it is. I get really upset about this because it's an attack against humanity.
Yeah.
I know people personally in my friend circle and outside that have lost their lives through suicide, through depression, because they have been held back and ridiculed for their thoughts and understandings and sharing their stories of seeing crafts, sharing their stories of consciousness, and being ridiculed by their family, friends, and the powers that be because of this agenda to keep it secret, because keeping the magic secret. Well, guess what? I'm here to let it all out of the bag. If you give me the platform, give me bigger platforms. That is my drive, Rob, and the listeners to get on Joe and these bigger ones. It's not for money or fame. It's to put this out there, show people that. Just imagine if I went on Joe Rogan and showed him the telekinesis
Oh yeah.
interactive demonstration.
Oh yeah.
How
And
many
it,
people is that going to hit? How many people is going to pick up a pendulum and try that? I hope everyone's doing it right now at home. Well, listen to this show. Like,
yeah,
start the wave.
that's
You know,
that's big. That's
and
big,
share it
Drew.
with your friends.
Your
See the
mission,
power.
your mission will lead you there, though, because it has to. Because it's your message is pure, and that for that reason alone, and then the work that you're doing, just the work that you're doing, right, with the veterans and providing play, that alone should be enough to highlight on a platform that large, and then outside of that. So I think you're going to get there, Drew, and you keep bringing it up, and I think that's going to manifest itself. And I'm just going to love the day that I see Joe Rogan drop the clip with featuring Drew Bankey, because I know it's coming. It's coming. It's definitely coming. We talk about Billy, and Billy's doing great work over there. But I want to say that I think that because you've fully opened yourself up in every aspect to be on this mission, I think that it is definitely Joe Rogan or something equivalent, or just some platform that allows you to speak to a huge base is in your future. And I just can't wait for the day to see that. Now, real quick, I want to make sure that we hit this question here, because T-Bone wanted to know, with remote viewing, could you remote view Ross Coulthard's UFO, the one he says is so big that they had to build a building around it?
Oh, could I? I don't think so, because that's really not my specialty. Like, it kind of happens to me, by accident. It's not. I think it's to be a proficient remote viewer. I think it takes a lot of dedication and practice. Can it be done? Absolutely. I don't think
Someone
there's.
needs to do it.
I don't think there's any. I don't think there's anything stopping anybody from doing it. Getting a coordinate or idea where it's at, and start and close your eyes and visualizing. I get asked a question all the time, like in these interviews, of like, you ever have any memories of anything weird happening when you were a kid? I said a lot, answered a lot over the first couple of years, no, but after a while, thinking about it, I did daydream a lot, like really hardcore, like to the point where I kind of come back in, forget where I was at, and come back sitting at my desk, staring out the window, second or third grade, fourth grade, and having a dream, repeated dream for years and years and years, where I was falling through darkness, landing on this like net that was made out of some type of fabric or thread that wasn't normal. It wasn't anything that we have on this earth. But I land on this net, and then I stopped, looked over the edge, but kept having this dream over and over and over again. Now, I understand my dreams are where I communicate and travel a lot. you know, and I'm having more and more memories of me traveling in dreams. I'm having more and more lucid dreams. I'm having more and more, you know, scary lucid dreams, you know, where I had this one the other day where I was walking out to a plane. I was walking out into a tarmac and walking out into a plane. They had you know, it wasn't a big plane. I don't know if it was a private plane, but it wasn't a big plane. And it was me, my wife, Ella, and Hawk and Ember, my two youngest. And they were in their teens or something like that, and I had gray hair. Before I got to the plane, I was like, I'm dreaming. I was just thinking in my head, I'm dreaming. I was like, why am I so old? Why is everyone so old when this is happening? Because obvious, like, you know, I'm, you know, reaching a different, you know, financial status. And I think that's a part of really this whole process is really mastering everything, your mind, body, spirit, having more abundance in all areas so I can spread the message more. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
So you know, if you're supported, you're gonna be supported in all aspects. You know, that's basically what I'm saying. But so right before I get to the plane, I blink my eyes and we go back and we start where the beginning of the walk started. I'm younger, and Hawk and Ember are only like 3 or 4 years old. You know, they're much, much younger, and they're running up to the plane. So I'm like shifting. I woke up and I had to go downstairs and like I had to smoke a joint, man. And this is like 2, 3 o'clock. Everything always happens like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I always wake up on that. And I go downstairs and I sat down and I'm like, man, I think I really just shifted through intention my timeline. Like I really do. Like, and just giving myself like, why the hell do I have to wait till I'm 60 years old or whatever? You know, I'm already starting to get gray, so I know it's coming. But you know, 44 is ain't no spring chicken anymore. But
Tell me about it. Yeah.
But you know, it's just yeah, I think to long story short, I think remote viewing is possible anywhere, you know, but I think it's definitely a practice. I think we all travel in our dreams. And that's the most comfortable for me, you know. When all this started first happening, I was having face-to-face encounters. I was waking up in the middle of the night, balls of light at the foot of my bed, things like that. But you know, there was times when before I went to bed, I was like, okay, I'm more comfortable doing this in dream state, you know. And the universe listens, you know. If you want to have crazy experiences, if you want to have, you know, balls of light, winds up on ships, things like that, that's fine. You can ask for that, and you know it'll probably happen. But for me, like I was like, well, this is too much. I can't sustain doing this all the time. If you want to talk to me, or you know, if I need to get information, let's do it in a dream state because that's the most comfortable time.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. And you touched on something that's, I mean, I haven't talked to you since a lot of this new stuff has been happening to me. I've been having orbs that we got on film here in our side house, and the whole thing that's going on there. We had some phantom knocking that we got caught on ring camera too. So a lot of weird stuff, and I think the phenomenon just keeps showing itself to me is I talked to Jax Harmon, and she said maybe it's trying to show you like this is real, I'm real, and I kind of feel like that might be what it is, and because it's the only thing that makes sense of why it keeps showing me all these different things. You know, I think
it's you.
Ultimately,
it's you. Ultimately, it's you. And you know, I've been hearing this crazy amount of people recently, you know, talking about really intense experiences, and the phrase keeps coming up is why me? And I give the answer that was given to me when I was asking these questions when it first started happening. I said, why me? I said, why not you? What makes you any different? What makes you any worse than anyone else? Like ego goes both ways. you can have an ego that holds you back because, you know, you're too much in your body and you're thinking too in the physical, or you can think too negatively and it can work the same way. You know, it can hold you back. You know, there's no difference, right or wrong, up or down between any of us. So when people say like, why me? Why is this happening? It's happening to you because you have this show on after hours every weekend and your own show, and it's your passion. So you're basically just doing what you love anyways, but you're a channel. You're a
Wow.
speaker. You're speaking for your particle source that has a microphone in front of their face.
Yes.
And that's why you're having these experiences.
Man, I'm glad you said that, Drew, because I felt that way. But then, see, when you say it, it validates it for me. But like, if I say it, then it just sounds like I'm being full of myself. Like, oh, I'm getting on, and I don't ever want to come across like that. Like, oh, I'm just the one. But I'm glad that you kind of validated that because I do kind of feel that way, and it totally makes sense that would be the case. And I wanted to say one other thing before we get out of here. We're over, and that's fine. But I think that I feel like once we get to that point of ascension and higher consciousness, once we're there full time, I think we'll look back on all like the dreams and all these experiences that we can't explain, and they'll all make sense at that point. We'll be like, whoa, we were really experiencing these things all along, like they were trying to peek themselves through. And now that we're fully conscious, we can look back and say, and kind of see all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, with that being said, Drew, we're going to go ahead and have to say bye, and I don't like that. But we're going to have to obviously set this up again because, like I said, it's always this is what you're supposed to be doing is giving these messages to the people. And anytime you're on other shows, I tune into those too. I tune into you over at the UFO Man. And you know, I just want to peek in and kind of get some of that energy from Drew. So keep doing what you're doing. Really keep doing what you're doing for the vets out there. I just got to tip my hat every time. And it's just, you know, any person that really gets out there and tries to make a difference, which is what you're doing. One man doing this it's powerful. And if you could just imagine if we had a world full of people like you with the same mindset, this would be a totally different world, man. So keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for coming in. And where can everybody find you?
sacredjourneyswithin.com. You can find me on all the socials, simply Drew Bankey. Follow me on Facebook. I'm monetized over there. You see any posts, give me a like, thumbs up, something like that. Every little bit reaction gives me a small part of a cent. And yeah, if you don't mind, could you share that other clip that I sent you?
Yeah. That's right.
And,
let's do that.
Yeah, much love to everybody. And reach out to Joe and tell him to get Drew on because I'm about to take this telekinesis thing to a different level. And yeah, I'm working on some projects. And by the end of this month, I'll be able to say a lot more. And yeah, I'll be in Roswell July 4th, I believe, at a conference. So
yes, and we definitely have to bring that up. I forgot about that. Let me bring up the that video. And let's see. I just had it here.
Thanks for all the love in the chat.
Yeah, you know they love you, man. All right, let's bring this up here. Okay, let me try hopefully to bring this back. Okay.
You did it one time, man. You can do it.
Exactly. Love live shows, man. Here we go.
You're doing great.
Hey guys, Billy Carson here, aka Forbidden Knowledge. I have two amazing books by Drew Bankey. This book here is by Drew Bankey and Colleen Giron, PhD. Also, Drew Bankey and Colleen Giron, PhD. Amazing books, guys. I'm telling you, I was very happily surprised going through this content and reading these books. Really enlightening stuff. If you get a chance, make sure you check out Drew Bankey's book and follow him on Facebook. Okay, Drew Bankey. Thanks a lot, brother. Great work.
Hey, hold on. That's a mic drop, Drew Bankey. That's the official mic drop. Billy Carson said it. Go check out Drew Bankey on Facebook. Go get those books. Drew, you're doing big things, man. Keep doing it. I'm happy to see it, man. And I'm happy to know you, man. And like I said, positive people putting positive energy out there. That's what I'm all about. Something that moves humanity forward. You are doing that. You're checking all the boxes, man. Keep it up, Drew. We love you, man. And let's do it again soon.
Anytime, man. It's my honor. I love rapping with you, man. It goes by so fast. Yeah, let's do it again.
We will. Take care, Drew Bankey. All right, guys. Wow. Okay, we went over, but that's all right because you can't stop the conversation like this mid message, right? So I always knew anytime we get with Drew Bankey, it's always an awesome time. These are the conversations that move the needle as we go ahead and get ready to jump into our final break of the night right here at Spaced Out Radio. You guys don't go anywhere.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
All right, all right. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio After Hour number 3. Tres, with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. As we had another awesome show, but I want to go ahead and once again talk to our space travelers out there. Guys, you're already space travelers. Come on. Take the next step. Join the club. Please join the Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 buckaroonies a month. You can go ahead and become a member. Please do it today. All right. So, yeah, looking at this, that was a data download. Welcome to the show. That's right. I mean, that's what we have to do. We have to have these conversations that raise our frequency, man. And, you know, I love it. And you can tell that I'm impassioned to do so. And, you know, when you have those type of minds together, it usually ends up being a great conversation. So once again, shout out to Drew Bankey, continuing to kind of spread that that energy into the rest of the world. So keep it up, Drew, and anyone else out there. I encourage you to do the same thing. You can do it on a smaller level. Just go ahead and anytime you interface with the world out there, just make sure you're putting out positive energy. And as we talked about before, I think that kind of multiplies, and that's the superpower that you have within you. One of the many superpowers within you to kind of be able to affect and change the world, really, just by doing that small thing, like going outside when you interface and just spreading the love and the positive energy, right? So with that being said, awesome show so far. We're here in hour 3, a shorter hour 3, but we do have our man of the hour here, as you see at the bottom of the screen, the paranormal reporter, with none other than our guy Travis Moose Deuce, author, experiencer, connected with the natives. The guy has a long list as well. And here we go. Travis Moose Deuce, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Hey, well, how's it going, everybody?
Man, we've been looking forward to you, man. And like I said, it's always being able to do this segment here right after we have a great conversation like the one we just had. Just kind of is like the cherry on top, Travis, because you know, the thing is that usually, depending on the conversation, it's always good and cool to be able to get your perspective on like some of the things we talked about. What did you have anything specific you wanted to look at or jump into?
I was actually very open today to discussing whatever with you there, Rob.
Okay.
So, you know, here we are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so yeah, so what I wanted to do then, because you know, Drew spoke about you know, the perspective. We were talking about energy and you know, healing and just the long list of things that he's into that kind of foster positive experiences or even life-changing experiences, as we saw with the testimony that we played earlier in the show. If you missed that, definitely go back and rewind it after we finish the show. But he also brought up, and I know you've talked about this before, and maybe this is where we can start off, but let's talk about like the perspective of the natives and us being star seeds. Like I'm still kind of new to that part of this. You know, I hear the term a lot. I know what it means sort of technically, but from the native perspective, what would the star seed be, and how does that, you know, tie into everyone on this planet?
Well, there's that's a big one there. For us, a lot of our nations and tribes and our people, we all say we come from the stars, right? And especially Cree people, us, Neo and Neo, we believe that we were one star people as well, and we felt that we were brought here, and it was like I said, it was there was a time when we were brought here by the Askiski and you know, Akako Sakasamana, like I said, it was a very deep connection, and still connection to this day, like through spirituality and visitations and whatnot. Give me a second, kitty. But but yeah, so it's like there's like quite a bit we can talk about there with that. As for a lot of our connections with the higher dimensional ultra terrestrial beings of this universe, like I said, it runs very deep in connection with the spirit and spirit realm, and how we receive messages from them and visitations, like a lot of times during ceremony when they come pick us up and bring us to the stars and show us these things or bring us visions, and yeah, it's been a deep connection amongst the tribes, and especially out here in North America, down in Central America and South America. It's a very well-known thing. And like I said, a lot of our teachings and a lot of our ceremonies and stuff are based along these like I should say the moons and the stars in the sky, and like I said, like what people call the Big Dipper would be the peace pipe for us. Like that's what we see in the sky is a big peace pipe. And then those 7 points, there are 7 parts that make up a peace pipe, and those are the teachings that are foundations that our people live by, right? And that we consider to be part of walking the red road, and that connection to the universe, right? And that path. And so when I say that, like the Star Nation and a lot of that connection, yeah, it comes from deep within the universe and the healing. And like a lot of times when we do our ceremonies, they do come through, and they'll bring like I said, they'll bring through their energy. They'll energy in like orbs, and then they'll actually they'll present themselves in certain ways, like they'll make themselves in light and stuff, and like the one that we seen was all pink and had blue eyes, and was able to reach around with its energy and light up the area. And this thing was like I said, it was a healing energy, healing ultra terrestrial being, an alien, right? Like from another universe. And but like I said, it was part of our connection with the universe, so it came in and came through, and part of that energy and high vibrational frequencies, and so yeah, that's part of that too, right? So there's that, and yeah, like a lot of our origin and a lot of our story is yet to still be discovered out there in the solar system, and that part's coming in the future, right?
Definitely. And does it as far as the from what I hear when people talk about star seeds and things,
are you still there, Rob?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
So sorry, I don't know if I'm kind of lagging.
Okay, yeah, if you can hear me, I just wanted. Okay, good. So I was gonna say, the connection when they say star seeds, like we are descendants of them. Is that also the belief within the tribes?
Yeah, definitely a connection out there in amongst the stars in relation to them, like in terms of who we once were in time before the first actual Great War, and how we ended up here, and yeah, there's a lot of that, and then also too with like when it comes down to like being here and our connection with the universe, like the first planet and stuff like that, and connections amongst it all, right? Like for the human race, it goes pretty deep and pretty far for that. So where we try to stay base is in our like where we are right now in this time, in our connection to universe and spirit, and but like I said, that those things are there, like that history is there, and but yeah, so like I said, it's one that where people, like I said, their tribes have been brought here, and the people have been brought here from the stars, and that's honestly like the going belief of that. So
all right, and I want to ask you this real quick, because this time, welcome to the show. Ask this question, asking so I guess are star seeds individuals experiencing genetic memory? Are you able to put in some input on that?
Well, genetic memory, I think it's more like it's part of that connection, spirituality. There's a lot of people that are very connected, and they just choose not to believe it or see it, or they choose to close it off. And some people, it's very easy like to close that off, like it's very easy to get caught up in the reality of like possessions and wants and greed and things like that, and selfishness and stuff like that, right? So, but it's like when you're able to connect with it in the universe, and you're living in the enjoyment of everything, and you're opening yourselves up to that reality, it slowly starts to reveal itself for you in small increments, so you can understand it over time. Because if it would just be so confusing if it all just fell on you right away. Some things happen for a reason, and some things are meant for it to slowly be unfolded, right? And so paying particular like for the alien question or ET connection for star seeds, and paying attention to your I should say, like how this information's coming forward to you, and also to be very open-minded, and not to just dismay it right away, or like dismiss it. Dismiss it, and but like I said, to be very open to it, and then just like I said, you're the person who has to look at it and make that judgment for yourself and that understanding, right? But at the end of the day, for all of us, like even the insects, and a lot of like the beings out here and different plants, they all come from the stars, and it shows, these things show in nature, and I should say all of it. We're all part of it, right? In the universe, we're all connected through it, and that's part of that when we say stardust or star seeds, that's part of that, right? And this connection goes out through the universe, and through our connected web of all their universes, right? It's all a big connection, and there's like I said, it's for us, that's part of that whole we respect even the smallest of life, because we are eventually, when it gets to that grand scale, that small of life too, and so we respect everything, and try to show that connection and that respect and honor towards one another, and like I said, seeing each other as like as the walking spirits and energy forms, and really like when people say like just to be like in honoring of light, like when you honor yourself and honor light, like that the spirit, like being grateful for having life, and then you start to open up that gateway of gratitude, right? And that's part of that whole one of the 7 teachings there. So it's like it's part of that, right? It's being connected with that, and showing that respect for the universe and creation, and all things in all life, and all connection in all life, right? So
Yeah, definitely. I want to ask you this as well. So getting into the energy, and it almost feels like deja vu. It almost feels like maybe I've asked you this before, but maybe not. So when we were talking about energy today, and I would like to know what is the native perspective on pyramids, or are they even discussed? And then if so, what is the theory behind that? Because we were talking today about some people are under the belief that maybe there were energy stations at some point, and there's the thought process behind that. And I just want to know if there's any native perspective on that. What do the natives say?
the ancient technologies and stuff of the time, yeah, they really were like that. They were, in a sense, the energy points and focal points of spirituality, and like I said, gateways to the universe, and that connection, honoring the sky, and a lot of them too were built for the visitors up above, right, and to see, and also too, like a lot of them were landmarks in times of change, and usually meant for better change in time, like our connection of tribes. Like the Snake Mound was a ancient Atlantis tribe, and when they came up, they were considered the Snake Brothers, and they were met by the Turtle Clan, who brought them up, which eventually became the Sioux. And when they made that Snake Mound symbol, that was them returning from the destroyed Atlantis to come up north, and that was like showing the turtle was showing. If you look at Snake Mound, you'll see a little circle. That's the turtle leading the snake forward, the snake people, snake brothers, up to the mountains where they became keepers of the mountain. These people are shapeshifters, and they were like snake beings, Kene Pek, Napuyo, snake man, snake woman, you know, a bunch of them. And but what I'm getting at is a lot of these temples too also acted as spiritual connections, like telepathic connection, visions, and they also enhanced a lot of the society around it in great ways, and until they were, you know, until some of them were misused, and some of them keep some secrets right away from this world to this day, you know. And that's part of that reason is because we lack the respect and the honest credibility to the universe to even withhold some of those items anymore, you know what I mean, as human race I'm speaking, you know. And but in time, hopefully that will change.
Yeah, and you talk about Snake Mound, so I wanted everybody to see that because I was familiar with that as well. Let me bring that up here, actually.
And you look at the top of where the mouth is, you'll see a little turtle leading the snake north because it's pointed directly north.
In the upper right corner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I do see that. And let me see here. Okay. Appreciate your support for the show, Mike Bothwell. Are you making a statement to someone in the chat or asking Travis a question? Anine Travis from Garden River First Nations. So not really sure, but we do appreciate your support of Spaced Out Radio, Mike Bothwell. If you could, if that's for us, let us know. So that way I can bring it back up. I appreciate you though, definitely. Yeah, I always thought Snake Mound was weird. What is these? Do you know anything about the story behind this?
Yeah. So like ancient times, after like the fall of the ancient city, which we were told never to visit, like our people from the north were told never to visit because the place was at the time falling apart, and it created greed and separation from spirit world, right? Like it would ruin our connection to the spirit world and our connection to universe, right? So our people never went to Atlantis, but there was a lot of people down south, like a lot of southern tribes and islands that traveled there often, and eventually when that place started to fall and Numeria fell and stuff like that, they kind of started traveling. Like there was like a bunch of different spiritual people that led other groups across. Like there was Thoth, who led people back to Egypt to reclaim Egypt at the time with the emerald tablets. And then you also have Amaramuamu, which was a South American indigenous leader who led a bunch of people in a golden UFO craft back over to America and landed and made a temple underground. And over time, those people ended up becoming the Mayan people, and a lot of those tribes and people ended up still coming forward up more north and traveling amongst the other tribes. And there's a lot of like in the southern border at the time, there was a lot of different kind of tribes like the Tonks and different kind of and they weren't very like peaceful people at all. Like these were just kind of like renegade, like wild kind of like they were still more animal than like they had more animal characteristics, like barbarians kind of style. And they just tore apart those people, those Atlantean migrators, and they took their wives and ended up making a whole new tribe. Like, and then that's kind of the story about what ended up happening. They ended up creating an Iroquois, a tribe called Iroquois, and they ended up traveling up more north, and Snake Brothers, right? That's what it translates to. And as they traveled up more north, they met the Sioux, and Sioux welcomed them in, the Turtle Clan, Fire Turtle Clan at the time. And they led them up north, and they created the Snake Mound in commemoration for them finding their new home in North America. And that would be Central America, considering Canada border and all that, right, forward in that land. But yeah, so like it's also a testament to that, right? Like it's there to assign symbols to these stars, the universe, and where our people and where we all come from. And yeah, so it's there's part of that, and there's also like a lot of these, like I said, like the temples and these structures that were built were created as focal points of spirituality, and like I said, they were gates to the universe, and some acted as I should say telepathic communications or interconnections with other temples across the world at the ancient times, like, you know what I mean, like in those when they were all activated, right, and flowing with water, and that was a lot of things too. I want to say the Pleibu, when a lot of their technology, they didn't have a lot of running water in their areas when they started like to make these places. So they made a lot of structural, like to stay places. So their places had a lot of technology to catch and hold water and control water streams. And so like these in agriculture was very great for them. They were growers and planters, and which is kind of why they suffered towards the end of like I should say the frontier days, because a lot of like the Comanches and a lot of different people just hunted them down because they would stay and they would farm, whereas these war cultures were starting to become more prominent with the induction of the horse, right, after the Spanish Inquisition and the fail of that, and so it's a very yeah, there's a lot of history there with that, with those temples and those ancient cities. There was a lot more, but they were just destroyed over time. And you know, when a lot of the settlers or a lot of the colonists seen them, they would go, "Wow, this looks just evil," because there was dragons and there was like these, you know, there was all these like awesome, you know, depiction of these ancient beings, like, you know, like these giant bears and giant like creatures that existed, and dinosaurs and all sorts of stuff. So they just figured those were evil and against the religious beliefs, so they just destroyed them. And they actually paid people to go and destroy them. So yeah, and times were rough back then. Like they had, you know, Indian hunting licenses and everything, you know, everything. So it was like, you know, like it was just as bad. Like even the people that were held as heroes had to be just as bad as the natives were at the time, you know, and rough as the natives were at the time too. Like it was kind of I'm not saying that it was all, you know what I mean, like there were tribes out there causing massacres, and it was kind of back and forth kind of deal, you know. And that's when I look at history, I try to represent that, you know, from both viewpoints of that, right, and see it from both angles, because that's very important to see. But yeah, anything you want to say, Rob?
Yeah, no, you're dropping jewels on us right now. What I wanted to bring up, okay, they didn't switch over. Let me switch this. I was bringing up something else here when we were talking about like the channeling of water with the ancient people and the way they were able to do that. And this was, I believe, this one is in Peru, or definitely South America. I want to say. Let me see if I can bring that up here. And then let me know if you're familiar with this, and then maybe we can speak to this here. Let's see, it's this right here. Okay, and it's the Cantilac aqueducts, or a work of hydraulic engineering built in the middle of the desert by the ancient Nazca culture, 200 to 700 AD. Have you ever seen these? And this is, I mean, when you look at this is like genius, right? I guess that you could compare this to being genius, right?
Yeah, and then those would hold the water in the day, and then have the water regulated throughout the night and stuff, and kept the crop warm, and but yeah, it's like they were utilized also too in the borders of America as well. Like that's what I mean by the Pueblos were able to have this technology as well too, and yeah, so you get that, and so there's those that funnel and regulate crops, and yeah, that actually helps crops grow better, and I should say distributes water evenly throughout the weeks, and I should say holds water for longer in periods of time than you know, if you just have a stream running through, you know, because there would be drought seasons there or whatever, right? But with that, they can regulate that and catch rain too.
Yeah, capturing rain and just giving them year-round water in the middle of the desert. And you have to think that's why, that's why I think it's going to be crazy. Like if we think about like the Snake Man we just looked at, we look at these ancient aqueducts that allowed them to still farm even though they're in the middle of the desert, which just is mind blowing. But it just shows that are the expertise of ancient civilizations as far as it goes, the advancement, I guess. And it just, you kind of wonder where these ideas went. Like, what is the theory on that? What do you think about that?
Like I said, a lot of those were destroyed, and a lot of the times the people were like the native peoples and I should say ancient peoples of those areas were pushed out of their lands, and in true I should say in that old school fashion. But what I'm getting at is so a lot of those disappeared over time due to religious and conquest, different kind of conquests of the time and periods, and to this day we still talk a lot about those temples and like those like the places that did have like cities and how we used to trade with them, because like we were a boat people, like our people lived on the river, so we always float on giant tree made canoes, like 20 people on a canoe, and we'd bring goods and travel down the Missouri River and Mississippi and all that, and all those areas down there, and just travel and going down the Missouri, we'd end up meeting Illinois, and there's little pyramids in Illinois, and they used to talk about how they have a creation pyramid there, and we do trades and stuff and amongst them, but yeah, it was but also too, like you're talking about these how they transferred rain and water, and you look at like it goes right down to South America too, like a lot of those cultures they really did I should say utilize that technology a lot, right down to like the Machu Picchu. You should see some of the steps there. I sent you a couple pictures there of the steps that they have, these like water aqueducts that run down the kingdom to bring water and regulate the water amongst the kingdom. And that's a beautiful thing there, and it's made of a dragon. So like that's what I was saying, like a lot of these temples held dragons, and a lot of these places, ancient temples, they held all these ancient guardians and beings of the time, right? And that's why also too they were destroyed, because people were against, they thought of a dragon as a sign of evil, or they figured, they demonized it, right? They so that's part of that too. I sent you a couple pictures on the Facebook chat there, just
yeah, and bringing those up right now.
Yeah, give me 1 second here.
Here we go. Yeah. I mean, when we look at this, that's why I say I think the story is going to be pretty awesome once we're able to kind of figure out, get the full enlightenment that we're trying to get, and then looking back on all this stuff, like getting the real story. Like we have historians, archaeologists that look back on, and they're just trying to give their best guess, even with the aqueducts. Like we think we know. The Nazca lines, they mentioned point, or supposedly point to, were maps to kind of point to where water was being stored. So I mean, there's theories about all that. I think once we get this full story, the real actual story, that it's going to be mind blowing, and I just can't wait. So what do we? I have this up here, Travis. I guess you can speak to this.
Yeah, that's a Mayan temple. I'm just trying to remember what the name of it was. Quetzalcoatl might be. But this temple I was just using as a, I should say, a reference for the type of like dragons that exist like on the temple. So this would be at the steps, right? So like, they would see that and think like immediately that was a temple for evil, or you know what I mean? So they destroy it. But that one was covered by brush, and so they never ever did find that one, right? But that's that, like I said, that's one of those examples of how these dragons were very much a part of the culture, and part of the, I should say, the Kolkan were a part of the cultures, and how much they represented, I should say, part of our guardians in our medicine wheel, I should say.
That is awesome. Let me get to the next photo we have here.
And this is Machu Picchu, the next one. Yeah, so this is like a water aqueduct in Machu Picchu. And I'm just saying, like, this is like a serpent version of that. So I'm just saying, like, how these serpents were throughout Central America and then South America. And like I said, the serpents are right up to North America. I showed you Snake Mountain there. So it's like I said, the Snake Brothers, they carried this wisdom forward up around up to Central America, and they brought it with them and they shared it with us. And we considered it the North, like us people, the Neowin, Neowak, we consider that the snake medicine, snake teachings, you know. So that's a very important. And they were very, 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 very powerful shapeshifters and very powerful medicine men and women. Like, they were very connected to the universe and Earth. And like I said, they had a lot of teachings about the dragon guardians and all sorts of methods of healing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I say. I mean, look at it. Do we know how old this is? Do you know what time frame this is from?
Like I said, Machu Picchu, if you could put a time date on that, that'd be it. But I'm just saying, like, if you go across, like, all throughout those temples, you'll find these dragons and these snakes and serpents. And like I said, it's part of the teachings in the medicine wheels and these guardians that are part, like, in the directions of them, right? And these like I said, it's a part of the creation story as well too, right? So there's that.
Yeah, I'm looking at looks like founded 1450, so 15th century. Just pretty awesome, actually. Let me see if I can I bring this up? Does this show? Let me see. I want to show this here. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna have to stop. Let me stop sharing that. And okay, here we go. So when you look at that, just I mean, you know, this is pretty. When we talk about advancement or just the advanced civilizations that once existed in the past, it's when you look at something like this, right? You could it kind of reminds me of the stuff we have today, just like a condensed, you know, like a city, like in almost in the way that we would build one today. But it's just amazing, you know, and it makes you think about where these civilizations went, what happened to these civilizations. What is your outlook on that? What is your opinion on where these let me ask a better question, not just this particular civilization, but just civilizations period that we've seen in ancient history, how they get to a certain point and then for some reason they disappear. What is your theory on that? What do you think is going on there?
Well, there's actually been quite a lot of visitors here on this planet, even before us too, like in millions and millions of years ago. And they just showed up here and come checked it out and lived here for a while and made some things, and those things just got buried away in time. And there's also a lot of connection to them, like a lot of these let me just say, a lot of societies or different kind of tribes out there also had moments in time where they chose to go back to the stars, and they were actually all picked up, a whole tribe just taken up on a ship, gone overnight. And just, you know, they were showed up, teepees were empty, everything, they were just off the face of the earth, they were gone, you know. And there's those guys, and like a lot of these there's a few other ones too, like there's talks about how a lot of the giants and a lot of these other giants that lived up north were able to use a pyramid in the north and able to teleport to a moon that was within our solar system. I don't know what moon, but they were able to take a lot of the animal beings with them, the half animal people, and they were able to go out there and continue life, and things were getting a little too much out here. Cataclysmic days.
That's my theory. I mean, kind of along the lines that you said. So, you know, wake up one day, the teepees are empty or the villages are empty. It, for me, you know, one of the things I think about, and we obviously don't know, we can just speculate, but I feel like, you know, especially when you look back at like Egypt or something like that, it would almost seem that maybe we got to a point to where, just like now, as far as our advancement of civil or technology, where right now we could go off planet if we wanted to. We could all hop on Elon Musk's spaceship and send ourselves out there into the stars. And it just, because we're at this point, it just makes me wonder, and kind of leaning into what you said, that maybe some of these past civilizations reached that point where they decided to go off world, like in a situation where potentially a catastrophic event like asteroid impact or volcano eruption, or just something that would cause potentially human, not really extinction, but kind of knock the numbers down, for a better, to think of a better term. And it's just one theory, right? Because it just doesn't make sense how a civilization could just fall off after getting to a point of advancement. It just, when you think about what sounds logical, there just isn't really anything logical that you could think of besides maybe, but famine or potentially plague or something along those lines. But that's why I say we could always speculate. We have historians and archaeologists that look into things like this and kind of give us their best guess based on carbon dating and just all the different tools that they use to try to look into the past. But I always wonder if there will be a time where, if we do hit a point of contact where it's out in the open with extraterrestrials, if they have a history of this, like if they're going to be able to kind of show us what our past was, because that would be pretty awesome. Like the same way we video record things today, so we can show our future generations what was in the 80s and 90s. And like, I wonder if you would think they would have some sort of record keeping or data capturing that may allow them to replay some of these, take us back into some of these times. And that's one of the things I think about, because I hope, I would love to know what that full story is. I would love to know what the full story of humanity is. And I think that is probably going to be the way that we are able to get solid answers to these civilizations. And it may be what we thought all along, or it may be something we didn't even think about. So that's kind of why it's exciting to go on this journey, of enlightenment for humanity. And I just can't wait till we get to that point here. Let me look at let me see. Let me go back here. I think there was a question that popped up. Yeah, let me ask you this before we go, Travis. Mike Bothwell did ask, Travis, did the creator put Bigfoot on the earth to protect certain forests or lands? Forests and lands.
See, Bigfoot's another one of those beings that was here, and yeah, it was he was a guardian, or well, I should say they are guardians and connections for the forest and that reality and that higher dimensional frequency. They're on the lines of they're still like with the animals and with that in that category, which is a very very like, it's a very connected world, very high spiritual realm, and like these there's meaning to it all, right with them. And usually people that are connecting with the forest and seeing that, and usually they have a deep connection with the forest, or if they're I should say part of the wilderness, and Bigfoots might come and present themselves or see them, and just because they're like checking you out, right? Like they're coming to see you and making sure you're all right, or making sure like you're not there to cause any harm or to them or whatever, right? Like it's not like like they don't want I should say, like they'll stop destructors, what I mean? Like they will stop that, or they'll check out people if they're not getting near them, right? They'll make themselves known. There's been a lot of people that have been that were hunting on areas that got growled at, and like they just had to get on their ATV and ride off, right? It's been there's those tales where the people are like, yeah, no, they roam the mountains and they roam the wildlands, and they keep themselves in the rivers, and And but like I said, they are part of the connection to this earth and the spirit of that. So it's up there with the animals and the higher dimensional frequencies there in the forest.
And let me ask you this as well. This is a question from Drew Bankey. What do you know about Uwipi? YUWIPI. I might be even saying it wrong. Uwipi. Or
Does sound familiar. Maybe there's another way. Maybe there's another way it's pronounced. I heard it, but it does sound familiar. I'm gonna say that.
I'll try to bring it up here before we go.
It almost sounds like water. But
Uwipi. Oh, okay, it's a traditional healing ceremony. During the ceremony, the healer is tied up with a special blanket and ropes, and the healer and their supporters pray and sing for the healing of the person who is asked for the ceremony. The ceremony may be performed for one person at a time or a small group of people together, depending on the severity of the case and the strength and ability of the medicine man leading the ceremony. So based on that,
so that's a different a name for it, but we called it the shaking teepee ceremony. And my great grandfather, Chief Headman Mustis, used to perform that, and the whole teepee would be shaking. All the people are praying outside, and he was tied up in there, and the whole teepee would shake. And then when they were done the ceremony, he'd come flying out of the front of the teepee, landed on the ground in front of everyone, and everyone was all scared, and he had visions of the future and how to go about the signing of the Treaty 8. And I'm not even joking here. And but yeah, that's a very ancient ceremony. We don't perform that too often anymore. I'll just say that.
Okay. So awesome stuff, Travis. We're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap it up, man. Great conversation as usual. I think you added definitely some perspective to the conversation that we had earlier with Drew Bankey. So all in all, this has been an awesome show, man. I do appreciate you coming in. Do you have anything to go ahead and leave the audience with tonight?
Hey, yeah, thank you to everyone out there who's been supporting the books. Like I said, the Mars Bug War series, check it out. I'm so happy and so thankful I got to come on the show and speak with y'all and share this moment in the universe. And to everyone watching the future, thanks for tuning in. And like I said, thanks for the support, everyone. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see y'all next week.
Definitely. All right, Travis. Have a good rest of your night, man. We will be talking again soon. All right. Take care.
All right, man. All right. Take care. See you, everyone, next Amaga.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Awesome show tonight. Awesome show, right? Great conversation. It's all about, we could talk, we could tell stories, we could do those sorts of things, but how about having these conversations that move the needle, right? Let's, as far as education goes, as far as information that could potentially help us ascend or kind of get to that next level consciously as human beings, right? Because that's where the struggle is at. It's not really about are these UFOs real, are these ETs real? Like, we already know that. We know that's the case. It's more about the ascension of our consciousness and like, what are we gonna do, like, as human beings, as humanity, after we end up hitting this disclosure event or this confirmation, right? That's kind of why we have these sort of conversations. Yeah, it's not always the prettiest thing because there are some people out there that specifically want to hear stories. But the stories are cool. They have their place, but the conversations like these are the ones that really resonate with you and kind of, as far as mentally, kind of get you into a different place. So always glad to do this. Always glad to hang out with Drew Bankey. And yeah, we definitely want to try to manifest, because Drew's story and what he's involved in is so awesome. And it's so pure in the intention and what he's doing for the vets out there. Let's just say that, right? Him being a vet itself, and then what he's doing for the vets out there, and trying to, help them therapeutically with these sessions that he has, and then opening up his home, right? Big things. So, we would love to see him, being able to deliver that message on a larger stage, right? So, we know there's some of those out there, and we hopefully we can get those words to those individuals, and maybe they have him on. So I would love to see it, and it'll be a great day if that happens. Once again, thanks, Travis Mustus, for coming in and adding your perspective from the Native point of view, because again, I think the Native perspective is, the one we should really focus on, as far as, their connection to the earth and their connection, just their deep past, right? It gets passed down through generations. It's like an unbroken chain of knowledge, and I think that knowledge applies to what it is that we're trying to get through here now. So once again, great show, awesome. I really appreciate you guys coming out. Let me go ahead and thank everyone who gave their support. Aloha Dave, thank you for your support tonight. T-Bone, appreciate you. Aloha Dave, thank you again. And Mike Bothwell, we do appreciate your support. And to all the viewers and listeners out there across the globe, thank you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio. You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
That's right, guys. We own the night. You guys have a great rest of your night. See you back here tomorrow. See you at the Social Dig if you want to hang out. You guys take care.
Hey, everyone. Guess what?